Song form?
Yes. So
it's narration,
yeah.
but it's in song form.
Yes, it's narration, but it's in song form. But in some parts, I'm also speaking in first person. So it might seem like I'm speaking like as myself, but I'm actually speaking as the character in the story.
Right.
Yeah.
But is it are there any familiar melodies from your childhood?
Yes, there are familiar melodies. There are also familiar, just like refrain. So, for example, in the score, that's a folk tale. Yes, there's a part where they're underwater and these wolf-like, I'm just going to call them wolf-like creatures. They're not really wolves, but yeah, wolf-like creatures or monsters, so to speak, can smell the humans, and they obviously the humans are intruders. Yeah. So then they start saying right? And like one of the hooks of the songs is
I think about nursery rhymes, I think about the attachments we have with nursery rhymes. I think about the fact that a lot of us typically speak in rhythm form, and how music, whether it be chanting, whether it be some type of melodic vocalization, has always made itself, or it's been part and parcel of the way we communicate.
Yeah.
And I just find it astounding that some of that got lost somehow in some recent musical expression.
Yeah.
But how, when it is brought back, how much more it resonates with the larger population. You understand what I mean? It's almost essential to reach.
I have a question with that, because I think I am curious, especially when it comes to this particular style of rhyming, where kind of, like the end parts words rhyme. I find that Basotho, I don't know about other ethnicities or tribes, but I find that Basotho didn't actually rhyme in that way a lot. Like when you look at or like the praise poems from if men were coming back from initiation, then they would have this long praise poem where they basically speak about themselves and their lineage and from whom they emerge. They didn't really it was very poetic, incredibly poetic. So they used other poetic devices. But I find
it's more like something repetitive. Every rhyme is reducing to one. There's so many different ways. Things sound either from a rhythm or from a repetition. Then that creates that sort of, I almost call it a type of implosion. It's kind of crazy how that is almost like a horror story.
I have a song called Umoja
but that's kind of how it is. It's frightening, it's a horror story, but it's so beautifully told and so entrancing. That you may kind of forget that something devious is happening. Meaning, there's a way in which this particular culture does things, and anything that deviates from it is sacrilege, right? I'm keen to understand how you manage complexities because they're so peculiar. It must have been painstaking to try and adhere to facts as much as possible in the creation of this work. Was it hard, burdensome? To be accurate, or did you take the poetic license? How was your approach?
So, I wasn't attempting to be factual. I was using the folktale as kind of a skeleton. Because the folktale in itself doesn't have that many details to begin with. It's a relatively short story, right? So I was using it as like a skeleton, and then giving myself permission to kind of expand on that, right? But I don't think that any of it, I expand in a way that could possibly be offensive to anyone, to anyone culturally, but I had to kind of add detail and color to the story, because the story in itself actually is not too detailed. So no, that wasn't very difficult. I think language and the integrity of language is always like an important one for me, because some of the language that I'm using or referencing is not language that I used growing up. because I'm a city girl, I always emphasize this. I need people to understand I'm actually, I'm a city girl. I'm from Lesotho, but I'm a city girl, and so, as you know, in cities, the languages do get to be tends to be a little distilled. Yeah, and so it's a constant effort in re-education for me to use the language in that way and to expand my vocabulary, especially so that I can speak and express the way that I want to and color the way that I want to. So that was more of the challenge, and then I'm always fact checking, like, is this expression okay? And then people will tell me, yeah, it's okay, or maybe it does sound like you're using poetic license, and I think you're allowed to. Because I also have to give myself permission to do that, right? Yeah, but it was more of the language thing than like preserving, or adhering to cultural rules. Yeah.
Leo, one of the questions I ask musicians and artists is there a song that you wish you wrote?
Oh, let me think. You know what's tripping me is that I was watching another artist's interview like a few days ago, and they got asked the same question.
Oh, really?
Yes. And they answered an artist that I loved. So now I think I'm a little.
I'm thinking about a song. I'm thinking about a song that you came across in the
what? I'm gonna tell you. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you. Tsela Tshweu by Malay. And it's a
Maleso.
Yes.
Yeah,
because I remember when I encountered that song.
Yeah.
Was at a time when I really wanted to start writing in Sesotho, but I didn't know where to start. Like I had all of these references like Sankomoda, Deditapotola, or Mpanyane, or Pamo music, but they all did not feel very contemporary in a way that I could relate to, right? So I was looking for contemporary references of people who sang in Sesotho, and I remember when it sounded like me. When I heard that song, I was like, oh, that's me! Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, at least I'm redeemed, because I did say that, maybe she gets tired of getting compared to Mande, but thankfully,
I'm citing her as a reference for sure. Yeah.
Dope. Yeah. All right, and then the body of works that you mentioned, right? These two that are the one is like a portrait of yourself, and the other one is the. Are they all out at the moment?
No, both of them are not. I'm gonna start with the EP.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a portrait of myself in a specific moment in time, which I guess that's what a portrait is, right? You can only capture a moment in time. Yeah, and it's kind of speaking to a very specific situation.
The one thing that we all understand.
In common. I think we all have that in common. Situationships. It is expansive. I'm not like too specific about it, but there's that. And I'm gonna start with that, and then I'm gonna have the folklore come on.
Have they got names yet?
They have working titles, but I'm not.
Okay. So. All right. Now it might change, so let's not mistake. All right. Leo, it's been awesome. Thank you for spending some time with us. I have one last question to ask you. We are here in Umoja Sounds, and I know that you said that you were nervous. I see that you're wearing some local varieties of accessories, right?
Everything.
Why this particular setup of accessorization?
Okay, let me tell you about my look. So the earrings that I'm wearing, I was actually gifted by Anyiko. Yes, the Kenyan lady who's also part of the parade. So I thought it would be a really lovely ode to Anyiko to be like, because she gifted these earrings when I was in South Africa, and I came with them to Kenya. I'm like, hey Anyiko, and then. This dress, I really love it. It's very elegant, but I do feel like it's a daytime event. So I wanted to find ways to, not be like look like a bird on a red carpet, which is why I came with like the colorful accessories and the jacket to kind of casualize it slightly. And then obviously we're in Kenya. When in Kenya, it was the
Probably from the Maasai people. Yeah. All right, and thank you for spending this time again.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for asking really thought-provoking questions. The interviews, no offense to everyone who interviews, but like they can be like very repetitive, and I enjoyed this conversation.
Wow, thank you so much. I didn't have time to plan, so I wish that we would get a really organic conversation going, and I'm glad that we were able to. Thank you for being a great sport. All right. ladies and gentlemen, that was Leomile. As always, I'm Landmark, and I'm out.